Hello, Renee Flamond here. You guys, a takeoff from last Friday's off topic, which was about fighting fair, dirty or smart. Are you concerned with winning the fight or having peace? Now, I don't know about you, but this issue comes up when I say continuously in my life, I mean all the time. And I know people for whom winning the fight is the goal. And we started to talk about it last Friday, because we talked about how those are the people that will cheat, fight dirty. They don't really have honor. Those people, I'm sorry, in my mind, they don't. If your goal is to win, let's talk about this, okay? I have learned in my life, for example, that I am more after peace in my life, my space. This is my space. Let's call this house my space. And this represent my life, my world, my connections in it. I'm after peace. I don't want arguments that are brewing, fights that are brewing, continuous ongoing battles with these peripheral narcissists that we know in our lives, and these people that continually bring us trouble. You know who those people are in your life. I know that you have them. Many of them for you, many of them for many of you are your family members, close friends that you've had to learn to deal with. There can't be a severed connection, so you have to learn to deal with these people. And a lot of those kinds of people do have the goal of winning the fight. I know somebody that is so much like this, and the way I describe it is they put their feet in the cement and they won't budge. They could hear a good point that you make. They could be told by a mutual acquaintance, friend, family member, whatever, that they are wrong and you are right. Doesn't matter. They're not going to see new evidence. They're not going to allow it to come to light. They want to win. They said point A. This was their thought. This was their argument. This was their stance. You said point B. That's how an argument ensues, right? That's how a fight ensues. You have different points of view. They each mean so much to you that the other person's point of view bothers you. So you argue it out. Whether it's something they did to you, whether it's, okay, your point of view is that was wrong, you shouldn't have done that. Their point of view is, I have a reason for doing that. And you end up in a fight. I've seen people fight over a bracelet for a decade. I've seen people no longer talk to each other over the dumbest things that they can't even remember. Decades later, you ask them, they can't tell you. That is about stubborn people wanting to win the point. Are you winning is my question. Those people, those kinds of people, which I am not that kind of person, but those kinds of people, they think they're winning. I have one person in mind right now. They think they are winning. And what I see when I look at that person is how they have alienated this person, that person, that person, this, and I'm thinking, but if you talk to them, I'm sure they would say, well, they said this and they did that. Oh, that one did this and that one did that. They have reasons for everybody. They don't see themselves as the common denominator. And they won't ever see themselves as the common denominator because their feet are in cement and it's more important for them to win than it is for them to have peace. It would be easy to close up. Like I think of fights on a board, like in the police station, they have, I watch Dexter. A lot of you knew that. I'm obsessed. They got the board. The crimes are all on the board. The murders, they're in homicide. They erase them as they get solved. This kind of narcissist person has all these things in their mind listed as all these different fights they have going. They don't want to erase them off their board. They're proud of them. They're standing by each and every choice of every single fight they've had with every single person. And even if it meant that they lost people, the person I'm thinking of has lost many people. for being the way that they are. They don't see it. If you talk to them, they will stand by with furtive, defensive language about an issue that's 10 years ago. That person doesn't want peace. That's what that shows me, and I feel bad for that person. I feel bad for those people. I pity those people. I don't admire them. I wouldn't if I were in their audience of people hearing their side of the story, no matter what it was. Because I don't understand people that want to sever connections with humans that they've had in their life because of an argument like a bracelet, like two people I'm thinking of. But one is right and one is wrong. And the one who's toxic, unhealthy, narcissistic, and wants to win more than they want peace, well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to sacrifice the relationship, and they're going to sleep well every night with their head on the pillow thinking, well, I believe this, and she owes me such and such. They owe me an apology, or they owe me a blah, 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 and that wasn't right that they did this, and I'm righteous. They come at it with a righteous standpoint. And I'm here to say, you come at it with a righteous standpoint because you have all this conviction, but you don't value a relationship. Some of these people are family and friends lifelong, and they're willing to throw that away on the righteous stance over something stupid. But you feel righteous. So then it's more important for you to win than it is to have peace. And there's no other way that you could possibly explain that to me. There's no way you could explain it any other way, because there's nothing on earth that could ever happen, for example, with me and people that I love that would make me not want I took her hat off, I took her dress off, now she's down on the floor naked. She was being awkward. There's nothing that would make me deter from wanting them in my life. So say an argument does come up. They come up. We're different human beings, right? You spend 50 years, 20 years, 30 years, 10 years in people's company. Points are going to come up that you have that are different. It's never a fight. And even if it were, that's an irreplaceable relationship. You can't replace relationships of decades long where you have history together. And whenever I see one of those narcissistic people, and I'm sorry, again, you can't talk about fighting without it being narcissist. So this is off topic Friday, but it's kind of on topic, isn't it? Whenever you see them acting that way, I pity them. And I think, so they value winning over a decades-long relationship with this family member or friend? They value winning. They value winning. God help me if my mind ever, and I pity that person. Now they'll stand proud and think they won. Oh no, I haven't talked to them. I'm not going to talk to them because they owe me an apology because they said this and they did this and Okay, well guess what? It gets to the point that the person who the stance is against doesn't care if they talk to you anymore. So you've now shown them your capability of being stuck to where you want to win over this relationship. You don't think people catch on? So that's how much you value that relationship then. The point of the argument is more important to you than the relationship was. That happens when I talk a lot, I guess. So you just showed that person what their worth is to you. You're going to hold your stance. I've seen siblings not talk for 50 years. And you ask them now, the older people, they don't even remember. They don't even remember. How sad is that? So you valued whatever dumb point the argument was. You valued that argument. Well, you might say, well, that's not dumb. And some people in that position. Oh, you think it's dumb then? You don't think my principles... I'm not saying that. I'm saying you chose that and to stick with it and not to work through it and not find a way to accept and work through it over the relationship itself. So you wanted to win more than you wanted peace. That's what that behavior shows me. I don't care if they say, nuh-uh, I just stand for what I believe in. Okay, well, you can stand all alone into your old age because I've watched them drop like flies around you. That's what I see when I see a person like that. When you see an old, grumpy person who's alone, it could be that they've scared off everybody around them with their behavior. And they sit in their conviction thinking they're right. They could be 85. I'm right about all of them. Okay. And who's visiting you? Nobody. So was it worth it? Okay, it was. You were happy that you won? Okay. All right. Well, then that's the kind of person you are. You're concerned with winning the fight or having peace. I used to argue kind of like a lawyer would. And it took my daughter, not that I'm a lawyer, I'm a lawyer junkie, right? I wanted to go to law school. I took the LSAT a couple times throughout life, at different times I thought about going, I never did. But I tend to, and I didn't realize it, my daughter, I don't argue with my daughter, but she saw me arguing with somebody else. And she said, Mommy, you interrogate people. Because I would. I would be about the point. This was before I realized I really just want peace. But I would say things like, well, wait a minute, you said this. And they would say, well, I didn't mean that, but that's what you said. And I couldn't get off of it. Okay, they tell you they didn't mean. Let it go, Renee. You want to win the argument and make them say they said it? They said they didn't mean it. Or if they said it, it didn't even occur to them. Or they didn't mean what they said if they did say it. And that's certainly not how they feel. So let it go, Renee. And I'd be like, well, I just can't get past the fact that you said that. Now I realize decades later, I'm older, people misspeak. They make mistakes. They come back, they explain it. I really, really, truly am after peace now. So coming at it from a different place, maybe that makes me more receptive to receive those explanations from people. I don't know, when I was young, I had this idealized notion of how everyone should behave, and God, I didn't know anything. I was young. But that's when your ideals happen to you, right? And then you're kind of, unbeknownst to me, I was bestowing my beliefs and my ideals upon others and how they should behave. And I had a friend one time say to me, but they're not you. Because I heard myself say that all the time. Well, they should have done this and they should have said that. Who doesn't say that after doing that? What kind of people are these? Like, that's what they should have done. There's no right or wrong. It should be this way. She'd say, but they're not you. Because when you say should, that's what you're thinking, what you would have done. They're not you. So I had to grow myself out of that combative state. It took decades of work. And here I sit now, and I want peace. I've had relationships go awry, and I've reconciled if there was any of that to do. I've gotten rid of toxic I try not to have in my world any kind of dissension like that. I want peace. And I don't mean I'd avoid, if somebody disagrees with me, I have people I disagree with. It doesn't have to get to a fight or an ugly place, right? I have one friend, when we disagree, and we disagree a lot, we just laugh at every single disagreement we have. We laugh and move on to the next topic. She's not interested in changing my mind. I'm not interested in changing hers. We laugh at the differences of each other. This is a tricky one because I want you to give thought about, because it could help you, especially with the narcissist. If you're concerned with winning the fight over having peace, that could keep you stuck in that kind of relationship. Because you're going to stay and fight it out. You're going to stay and prove that you know what you know. You're going to make them eat the truth. You're going to make them see the truth. You're going to make them admit the truth. You're going to make them be sorry for the truth. You're going to wait until they seem sorry. You're staying in because you want to win the fight. If you're after peace, well, we know that there's only one way to get peace with a narcissist. As low contact as possible. I don't tell people to leave. And some of them, it's not a leaving situation. They're in your life, family, friends, business partners, whatever it is. And you have to learn to deal with that person, right? So maybe low contact, gray rock, no contact if it's a partner. That's the only way you get peace. Again, not telling you to leave, because you have to be ready for the peace. You have to be ready for the quiet. You have to be ready for no love bombing. You have to be ready for no adrenaline in a fight. You have to be ready for this. Listen. I was more than ready for this, and now I'm addicted to this. I'm addicted to this sound. And I don't want to change it. So now my concern is having peace. It has changed. It's not winning the fight. And it doesn't mean I let somebody go away thinking they won. Did they win? I won't fight anymore. So did they win? If the relationship is lost and they feel they won, guess what? They can have it. Because to me, I think, how sad that they're alone. You know, they don't have that relationship, or they severed that relationship, or they severed. I see it all the time. And I think, how sad that their priorities are that mixed up. And I do see it as that way. That's what I see. There's no way winning should be more important than peace. And if you are that kind of person, check that. That might be keeping you stuck in a relationship that's toxic for you. You could get peace. Doesn't mean it with that person. You can move away from a certain individual if they're bringing you nothing but strife. And every time you're together, you argue. And you both think you're right. And it's all about winning, so nobody ever concedes. You can stop that in a New York minute if you want peace. It's just something to think about. I hope you have a good weekend. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you Monday.